Welcome, thank you everybody. I'm Guy Emmett, I'm the Deputy Head Pastoral at Ackworth School and also the Head of Boarding at Ackworth School. And I've been asked to give a presentation on boarding and pastoral care. I have worked at two schools that were in the previous presentation, at Millfield School and also at Ackworth School. So I've worked at one of the biggest schools in England, and now I work in a school in a quite small boarding school in England. First and foremost, each school and their aim is to provide you and your children with a world-class education. And that means more than just giving knowledge, more than just academic work, although that is a central focus of all schools. To me, if you get the pastoral care right, the academic success will follow rather than the other way around. At our school and at the schools I've worked, you want to give children the support, the chance to achieve their best, but also you want them to be brave. You want them to try new things, to be willing to make mistakes. Each school will give children a chance to earn great qualifications, but the best schools will mean that children like Paulina presented before, they can present, they can communicate, they are kind, and that comes from the pastoral care. And that is what universities and also in future employers wish to have. So in summary, there are schools that may say a world-class education means getting the best results and being top of a league table. To me, it is much more than that. Results are important, but having children that feel confident, that are able to form friendships, that are able to look after themselves and their friends are more important and will help them later in life and will help them at the very best universities anyway. On the slide is the aim from another school that's that's upstairs. It's not our school's aims, but we strive to develop resilient individuals who not only think creatively but also act ethically and with responsibility. But the key phrase up there, which I like, is how people behave, but also in a way that is true to themselves and their beliefs. So when you look at the schools, read what their aims and ethos is, and that is vital for you, and it will tell you what their pastoral care is, what their aims are. But what can you do to help with pastoral care? So I would ask the students in my school that will help them in a boarding house, in a school, help them to be happy. First and foremost, they can perfect their English and they can learn how to speak the language. It is easy in a school to spend time with students from the same country or the same language. And in a school, you get your pastoral care right, they will feel brave enough to make a mistake when they speak to somebody else. They will not feel as though they will be laughed at. And instead, they will then learn that language, perfect that language, which in our case is English. We have a key word at school called integration. And as head of boarding, my focus and the school's focus is to get students to integrate. Different ages, boys and girls, different nationalities. And if you want to help your children choose a great school in terms of pastoral care, make sure you check the ethos, and choosing the right school is so important. Do you want your child to be in a small school, a big school? Those are key questions to me. My brother and I went to two different schools. We are two different people. So there are many good schools upstairs and elsewhere. Choosing the right school is so important for the pastoral needs of that child. For example, one of my best friends who's in education has sent his son to Millfield School, one of the biggest boarding schools in England, but he sent his daughter to a different school, to a small school. And then what can we do in the school? And for me, when parents are going around and speaking to the schools, we all have good teachers, we all have good facilities, but it's finding out how can we help your child feel happy, feel safe, but also feel more than that, feel like they want to live life adventurously as well. They want to do things. So what support does that school offer? I'll give one small example. How does your child get from the airport to the school? What does that school do? Pastoral care does not start when the child arrives at the school. It starts before that. It can be another small thing. Which room will your child be in? Whether the room is modern or nice, it's who your daughter or son will be sharing with. Will they be with somebody who speaks the same language which will restrict them from integrating, or will they be with somebody who will talk to them and speak to them? Good schools with good pastoral care will think very carefully about who rooms together, and they'll do the small things right. All schools in England should be offering small class sizes, good facilities, very important. But the most important person, I think, to have good pastoral care for your daughter and your son is their house parent. I am in charge of boarding and at my school, but the house parent is more important than me for your daughter or son. And if you have never met the house parent, ask to speak to them, not just an email. Maybe even ask to Skype them so you can see their face and see who is looking after your child. A good house parent will make time to speak to you. In schools, friendly staff, tutors, small class sizes, that is central to providing good pastoral care. In our school, we have 2 form tutors per class. There often are 1 female, 1 male. So children have different types of people to go to. They can be a fairly new teacher or an experienced teacher also. The form tutor for your child is so important. They should know what they are doing outside of the classroom. They should know when they are feeling sad or happy. And good form tutors are vital. So ask what system they have at school. We have 2 other schools. What system do they have to help with pastoral care? All schools now have lots of non-teaching staff to support your child too. So pastoral care is also medical care. Who is the school nurse? Is there a school doctor? Where is the nearest hospital if something happens? So does a school have a medical centre? And also schools now have counsellors, so children can go and speak to them in private and in confidence, because sitting exams and being at school can be very stressful for some children, and sometimes they need somebody independent who's not a teacher to speak to. I mentioned hospital, and it is not to scare you, but sometimes accidents happen. I ran a boarding house of 80 boys, and I went to hospital sometimes with my boys. And you know, I said my boys, they still are. And your house parents should be thinking, they're your children, but they're our children when we look after them. So you've got to do the things that mums and dads cannot do when they're in a foreign country. To me, the reason why English schools are so good is because of the pastoral house system and the tutor system that is in place. And therefore it means that people will be happy at their schools, and actually they will thrive academically. There are many great countries that run great schools and achieve great academic results. But where English boarding schools are so good, and compared to English day schools, are the fact the house system, the non-teaching staff are a team. And do not worry, your son might not be Prince Charming, and they might not always keep their room that tidy. But as a house parent, our job is to try and help that they try and become a Prince Charming, and they try and keep their rooms tidy, and therefore they can do well in the classroom. We have a saying in our school, live life adventurously. Good schools have children that will try new things. The amount of times as an English person, I am so embarrassed to speak a foreign language. And I wish in my school I could have tried things and been confident to make mistakes. So live life adventurously. The way boarding schools ensure that children are happiest is actually after lessons. Children are not bored. Every school upstairs will have lots of activities. But also check, what do they do at a weekend? What if your child doesn't like sport? What will happen? Will they just be in their boarding house with nothing to do? Or are there trips for children to do? And do not be offended if your child says, I cannot Skype because I am having so much fun with so many activities. That means they are a normal teenager. But as a house parent, I would always remind my children to Skype their mums and their dads, because the most nervous people are not often the children, it is actually the parents. I am a nervous dad already. So at our school, like many other schools, a swimming pool, a music hall, a theatre, but we're not unusual. All these schools have to provide these good facilities. The key is making sure that you can get the child to swim, to sing, to dance, to take part in a play, whatever it may be. That is a successful school. That is a successful school with great pastoral care. I love sport. My children play lots of sport at the school, but so do all the boarding schools. We all play each other. But we also do great activities such as water sports and the Duke of Edinburgh. Through these activities, they become leaders. They are able to stand in a room like this and talk to 50 adults calmly. And because in a boarding school you are so close to your pupils, your relationship is different. And in your lessons you will find that they'll also have great moments with sense of humour. But these come at a cost. They can be expensive. You have a sports tour, you are going to Dubai, and your child cannot go on the tour, but all her friends can. Sometimes you will have overseas trips with schools which are expensive. How do schools help? And sometimes children cannot have everything that they want, but a good school will think about the costs for a family and provide a number of opportunities both in England and in Europe. In our school, we plan trips 2 years in advance so we can tell families what trips are available rather than putting pressure on with a number of trips at the same time. We have children who are going to go to Tanzania. They are fundraising now and learning to be leaders. I hope your children either play sport or do music or do drama or take part in the many other clubs that all the boarding schools have to offer. And therefore, for great pastoral care in a school, your children should have the opportunity to have fun times, busy times, but also the time to have some space and time to clear their minds and not play computer games. And then the academic success will follow. I'm very proud of students at our school that have gone to Oxford or Cambridge, but I'm equally proud of the student that has had to work so hard to achieve their own personal dream. And to me, a school that has strong pastoral care, it is highlighted as soon as you walk in, the way the children speak to you, the way they greet you. Do they look at you? Do they smile? Do they ask you questions? And if they do those things, you know you're in a school that is kind, caring and successful. One of the final slides is the head of the school sets the tone for the school. So I hope that one day when you go to your school, the head meets you. Our head meets every child and their parents that come to the school whenever they visit Ackworth. Thank you very much for listening. Has anybody got any questions? That can vary from school to school. Through sport, through activities, through team building, they quickly become a family. In our school, when they eat at lunchtime, we have different ages, boys and girls. They sit together to help integration. And through team building exercises, children get to know each other. So I've learned from working in a boarding school that a teenager from Ukraine, France, China, England, they're all the same in terms of their love and their passions. One example of an event at my last school was house music competition. So the whole house would sing together, and that would get people to work together.
Скажіть, будь ласка, як ви вважаєте, з якого віку найкраще дитину відправляти там на літні навчання для того, щоб вона найкраще освоїла і сподобалось навчання там англійської мови?
I think you can go on summer courses, short summer courses from a young age. I work at a boarding school where we have boarding from 11 upwards. That's where we feel comfortable with children boarding for a long time. Summer course is very different. From a young age, they pick up a language quickly. There are many schools that run good summer courses, but I would choose your summer courses very carefully. Find out who is looking after the children. I have seen some summer courses where the staff are very good teachers, very caring, with lots of structure and things organised. We at our school actually recommend, and I won't say the name, but recommend children to go to a summer course separately from our own school, because there are people that run summer courses and that is their expertise. So when you are upstairs, speak to the schools. They may run a good summer courses, but also look at the places that just focus on summer courses. Their aim is to give your child a great time to do well. At a school, if we run a summer course, of course my major aim is for your child to have a good time, but it's also to get your child to stay at the school. Whereas an outside just running a summer course, that's not their aim. Sorry, long answer back, but one thing I do recommend for people to try as well at an early age is for children to go to a school for half a term or a term. Polina came to our school for half a term. She liked it, she stayed. And that is a good way of finding out about whether your daughter or your son would like being in an English boarding school and be happy. From 11. We've got some short stay students coming that are slightly younger, but we only do that for a few weeks because the school believes in children boarding from 11 at the school I work at currently. Although there are some very good prep schools that take younger boarders, and in the last 2 days you would have met many good schools, many nice people, and your heads will be expanding with so many ideas. Speak to business links, speak to existing parents of schools, and they will be honest about which school would suit your child. My mum is a teacher and head of pastoral care at her school, and she knew that my brother should go to a different school to me. Thank you.